On this episode, we talked to Devin from Rochester about the consistency of your brand.
And the best pizza places to eat in Rochester.
Hey everybody, this is Ben Reilley, and we're back for a Week in the Life, episode 13. Very lucky 13.
Yep.
You made it to the cut.
I try.
There you go. Hey everybody, I'm Ben Reilley, along with
Jason Emerson.
and our very special guest this evening,
Devin Vosburgh,
who made it all the way in from
Rochester, New York.
and had his first Cazenovia pizza experience.
Yes.
So now he's going to make a purchase offer on a house.
That's
right.
That's how these things go.
Yep.
Always.
How was it? What did you have at Kaz Pizza?
I had a slice of pepperoni pizza.
And?
It was good.
Good.
It's good pizza. I could have pizza every day, though.
Really?
Literally, as long as it's a different pizza place, it's like your normal dinner every day.
Yeah. See, I go to Kaz Pizza way too often. Multiple times a week.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
What's the go-to pizza place in Rochester for people that don't know?
Oh, there's lots. In East Rochester, where I live, there's Crust Pizza.
Okay.
Then there's actually All-Star Pizza, which is just down in Penfield. And then we have Salvatore's, which is a chain. We obviously have their Papa John's and Pizza Huts. You could literally eat different pizza places.
Sounds like you know all the people.
I may. Yeah, I do.
He has them in his phone.
Right.
We're not here to talk about pizza. We're here to talk about...
Oh, so much.
Yeah.
Devin is the vice president, correct, of Ultraprint Corporation in Rochester, printing and branding company, among other numerous businesses you run.
Yes.
So I'm just going to let it fly. Tell us all what you do.
Well,
because it's too much for me to remember.
What is Ultraprint? Ultraprint is, what we do is we help small to medium-sized businesses work through their marketing patchwork. And what does the patchwork mean? It's small businesses, whether startups or established companies, that have tried to do it on their own. And they go in all these different directions, throwing things at the wall, not knowing what's working, just trying to get a grasp on things. And we help bring all that together, bring a synergy with their brand and their identity so they can reach their target market effectively. And we do that through design, print, and web.
So when you say synergy within the brand, what is the most common mistake when you go in a consulting role and you see a brand that's just absolutely just been fragmented for whatever reason? What's the biggest thing that you see?
Well, the first introduction we get usually is they'll come in for a printing project. And we'll take a look at that printing project, and the first thing I always do is take a look at their website. And we go to their website, and we see that it completely is the opposite of what we're about to print.
Okay.
So we'll approach them, and this is where our value add comes in, because printing has become a commodity. We used to try to argue that it wasn't, but it just has. So you got to accept it. So the value add is the assistance we can bring to make sure that you don't make mistakes.
Okay.
And a lot of times it is the colors all over the place. Sometimes opposite. They came with a red card. You go to their website, it's all green. You go, do you mean this?
Yeah.
Is this really what you want to achieve? And if it's not, we can help you with that.
Yeah.
We can help you bring that to a place where everything matches, and it's not as expensive as you thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
A lot of times, especially new businesses, startups, they go to an ad agency or a marketing company, and they're just in shell shock when they get a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 quote on a logo and branding.
Right.
And they're a two-person operation. It's not necessary.
Right.
Where we'll come in and we'll give you a much lower price, but we know we make ours up in the printing. So in the back end, the residual income, because matter of fact, is printing as a consumable.
Yeah.
So they use it and they reorder. So if we make sure that they're pleased with their brand and their look, and they're proud of it, they're going to continue coming back to order the printing.
It's interesting.
Yeah. You know what I love? So Ultraprint's been 43 years?
Correct.
I believe you said?
My dad started it.
Yep, his father started it. I remember Devin is my oldest friend in the world. Don't hold that against him. But he started at Ultraprint emptying trash cans. Literally started at the bottom, which was
I like that.
Yeah,
Good
and that
for
was
you.
a specific plan of your father's,
Good for
right?
you.
Yes, scoring little pieces of paper with a butter knife when they're too small to go through the scoring machine.
I remember when he did that.
Yeah, it was essential to my dad.
Yeah.
And to the point where even when I grew up and in home business and family businesses, you always want to get out of it. You don't want to be a part of it. But I went out and all I knew how to do was printing. So I went and worked for another printing company, a college print company, and ended up loving it. and saw more as an opportunity. And then when there was room at the shop, because family businesses, you can't just make positions, I was invited back, and I took advantage of that. And that was 19 years ago.
And I love, though, I really admire that, though, that your father had you start at the bottom. Like, don't just give it to you.
Yeah.
You got to earn it if you want to be part of it.
And when you're working,
learn it, too.
And when you're working in an industry like printing, you're working with tradesmen, you're working with people who are only going to respect you if you work your way from the bottom. They have to believe you really know what you're doing. And at the time, one of our biggest customers was Champion Sporting Goods before they got bought by Sara Lee and went to North Carolina. And we had 15 people staff, 15-person staff. And so we needed to make sure everyone agreed with each other. There was no ivory towers. Mm-hmm. You couldn't, or no one would get together and do the things they needed to do. And then then we just progressed from there.
Right.
So how does technology? It's changing so fast.
Yes.
With social media and YouTube shows and things, the things that people are trying to do to get their word out.
Correct.
How do you guys stay on the cutting edge in a traditional business, what I would consider a traditional business?
Well, it was an evolution. It slowly progresses. In our industry, obviously, digital printing was the biggest forefront that changed things. A lot of the old timers that decided not to go that route and thought, oh, we can do this. That's not a big deal. We can do this offset. Out of business. Yeah. And then the other guys who came in all digital also didn't realize how much paper you had to push through these machines to feed it. And they went out of business too. They couldn't pay for the machines. Wow. So it was that fine balance in between of growing slowly. We got our first little digital copier, really. And it was 30 a minute, and it was just so I could say yes to digital printing. And from that point, now we've got a Canon image press that does 70 a minute, 2-color, as thick as you can think of it, and it comes out books finished and everything. So technology's advanced significantly, and you've had to keep up with that to a point, though, so that you don't go out of business while investing in that technology.
Right.
Interesting.
Well, thinking about branding, too, which is a big thing for us here on the show,
Yep.
and rebranding, because originally the business was called Copy King.
Yes.
And now it's called Ultraprint. Why the name changed, and did that affect?
And we're on the cusp of possibly another name change.
Really?
Copy King.
Interesting.
Copy King was 43 years ago. It was before there were copy centers, so you couldn't just go get 5 copies of something.
Yeah.
You wanted a resume made up, 25 of them. You went to an offset printing company. They did their short run press, set it up, shot a plate, ran it for you. That's how you got things done. Mm-hmm. Or you typed up 25 resumes. As things progressed, though, and copy centers started coming up, and we were a commercial printing company, people started coming in for the wrong thing. We were missing our target market. We were in need of rebranding. So Ultraprint is where we decided to go with that, kind of focusing on the commercial market. But even now, we're becoming more of a communications company. Mm-hmm. From the design stuff. We've always done design, but we've always considered ourselves printers who design. Mm-hmm. And now we are starting to focus on the design element.
Wow.
And then, of course, we offer the print. But now we're also offering web design. So it's evolved in that sense because, again, as it becomes a commodity, you need to be able to fill the voids anywhere you can.
Right.
And if you can bring the full package to people, why not?
So if I'm a solopreneur,
mm-hmm.
which is a term I like to use, and I'm sitting in my...
Never heard that.
You never heard that? Solopreneur?
Yeah, solopreneur.
Like I was, until recently, I was a solopreneur.
Right.
You just did it on your own and did as much as you can.
Right.
So how can somebody like this who is, trying to fill the mowers and trying to fill the trimmers and trying to make sure that everybody's getting invoiced and things like that, how can somebody like that even think about wrapping branding,
right.
Wrapping something like this around their head?
It's not as... They overcomplicate it. It's not as complicated as you think. I was telling Jason at dinner, there are some things you can do to figure out how to communicate with your target market. The branding itself, the logo, put something together that you like.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything wrong with an owner being proud of their logo. The logo doesn't sell a single thing. Mm-hmm. The message, however, is what's going to sell.
Yeah.
And for a startup, it's a little harder because you don't know your target market. You're
right.
still trying to figure that out. But if you've been around for a year or two, there's something called the Net Promoter Score that you can really focus on. And how that Net Promoter Score works is it can be real low tech. It can be a postcard that you send out. It can even be a phone call you make to your current customers. Mm-hmm. It can be higher tech, like SurveyMonkey or an app of some sort that you send out emails for. But it's a score of 0 to 10. And life isn't fair, so 0 to 6 is a detractor. It means they can take you or leave you. They probably aren't going to use you, and if you're in the lower end, probably badmouth you.
Okay.
There's 7 and 8. They're passive. They could take you or leave you. You haven't done anything to screw it up, but if a better deal comes along, they'll probably leave you.
Right.
And then you got your 9 and 10. And these are your promoters. These are your Apple and Android fanboys. These are the people that will argue about how good you are.
Yeah.
They want you to make something else so they can buy it from you. That's what you want to duplicate. And how you do that is you send this out, you get your score, and the next question is, why did you rate us that way? And the reason for that is because they will give you the words to use.
Okay.
So when those 9 and 10 say, I love it that you're open on a Saturday, and you've never promoted that because you didn't think it was a big deal, maybe you should start promoting that.
Right.
Because you want to duplicate those people.
Right.
So use their words. And that's a really easy way for people that are established to a degree to duplicate their best customers.
Okay.
And the best part is if you do get ratings of 0 to 6 or a 7 and 8, and you can establish who gave you that rating, you can go and fix it. See what you got to do to move them up to a 9 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
And you can really solidify your client list so that you don't spend all your time keeping them, and you can spend more of your time getting new clients.
But not everybody's going to be a 9 and a 10.
No,
Right.
and sometimes you can bring your A game and you're going to be a 0 to 6.
Right.
And you brought your A game, it's just not your tribe. You don't fit with them. It may be you're not open 24 hours a day.
Right.
And I'm not going to be. So I will continue to be a 0 to 6 for you. There's no way to get around that.
It's time to fire that client.
That's it.
It might be.
Yeah.
Cut bait.
Exactly.
Stop wasting time and resources and energy.
And as far as the solopreneur, as you put it, there's things out there now that you can do to get around all that. All the little mundane things. My wife owns a company. She's a virtual assistant out of the office services. And she comes in and does the $20 an hour work. So the owners can go out and do their $100 an hour work. Billing, invoicing, calling on past due things, scheduling, all the little things that really weigh us down, whether it be time away from our family or time away from going out and really making money, and gets you to a point where you can go do that. And one of those things is working on your brand, working on your business.
Yeah.
All business owners have trouble doing that. They want to work their business and not work on their business.
You have no idea what he's talking about, right?
I'm Exhibit A right here.
Yeah, he just started, what, last week?
Last week was the first time. So we
Yeah.
hired 2 part-time people, and that was one of the first things we wanted to do was to teach. And this is a little bit different than scheduling and things like that, running these things.
Right.
But
It's a training.
It is. It got to the point where that's exactly right. Is I could sit here and make 10 cases, or I can go out and sell 50.
Absolutely.
And that's where we were finally figured out that that's what we're doing, or that's where we need to be, more importantly.
And I give you kudos because hiring somebody can be paralyzing to a small business.
Yep.
It's very scary.
Yes.
And that's where the virtual assistant can come in, work your way along until you make the income, where then it becomes a no-brainer. I can now hire somebody.
Sure.
It makes sense now. So that works together in some of those things. But again, people are scared to death of hiring somebody.
Was it paralyzing for us?
Yeah. And relinquishing some power. I mean, we are perfectionists. That's why we get into business, to do what we want to do. And if someone's doing it differently or wrong, but it still might be effective, sometimes we get in our own way.
Yep.
So it's it is a struggle. There's no doubt.
Yep.
See, I told you he'd be a good guest.
No question. I mean, I know I could do this all day long.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's for me. It's about being self-aware enough of what you're good at and just taking stock of what. Okay, there's 5 different areas that we can work on. I'm a 5 here. I'm a 6 here. I'm a 10, and a 7.
Right.
Okay, focus on the 10 and the 10 because that's what you're good at. But go ahead and somebody else's 7 could even be better than your 6 in this area.
No doubt.
And that's okay.
Yeah. It's about leveraging other people's strengths. And if it's either brokering or bringing on people so that you can leverage your strengths,
Yep.
yeah, you're ahead of the game at that point.
That's great.
Now, what about, how are we doing on time? Pretty good?
Well, yeah, you got like 6 minutes.
Oh, great. So what about, like, social media? So LinkedIn, I don't know about Facebook, Twitter. I don't even know all of the social
We're getting
media
you
things.
ramped up, though. We're doing a good job of
Absolutely.
this.
He is getting better.
Yep.
I know, isn't it?
I'm proud of him.
I am the Charlie Brown of computers, as my friends call me.
Yes.
So, just the fact that I'm using it is...
Can we get a T-shirt that says that? The Charlie Brown of computers, please.
That's me.
So
how do you leverage all that?
Yeah, all of those resources are used differently. There's a great book called Booked that I mentioned to you.
Yeah, mention that to me.
Which is how you leverage the power of LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is more of a vetting tool for me. I offer education. I don't sell anything on LinkedIn. I don't want to sell it. I show my expertise, and then I let people come to me. That's what
You don't friend somebody to spam them 15 seconds later?
I
That's
just had
not
one.
you?
In fact, I thought it was going to be you
I got
when I
3.
accepted you today. I was like, oh, it's coming right at me, isn't it? And I
Here we
realized,
go. Want vodka?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, that's what I'd probably say yes to.
Probably, exactly.
Not the financial advisor.
I'm the good spam.
So there's different ways of doing it. Where then on Facebook, on our Facebook page, that I'm showing our product. I'm showing what we do and how we can help you.
Yeah.
And Twitter, I simply just mirror everything I'm doing in both avenues and funnel it through Twitter. And then always like your own posts. Some people think that's ridiculous, but it jumps everything to the top.
Really?
Yeah, always like you.
It's all about
and
the
have your
algorithm.
friends.
I have no idea.
Don't be afraid to ask your friends to like them. Just go there and like it.
Right.
If they're a good friend, they'll just do it.
Just force it all up.
So all the time I haven't been liking your posts. I've been.
Well, you did that
not being
one
good.
time. I was really proud of you.
So to your point, that you're giving value and you're giving basically free advice
Yes.
on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And if you could reference the article that you just did, because I thought was
Yes.
really good,
Yes.
Absolutely.
about how you're giving value and giving advice to small business owners about their entire corporate tree.
Yes. Well, I just did a number of articles. Is this the creative one or is this the employee?
This is the sandwich shop one.
Sandwich
Yeah.
shop one. Yeah. Generally, in the corporate entity, the people at the top know your message. They know where you're trying to go in the marketing plan. They know the target market and they know what they want to say. Problem is as it trickles down and the people become less important, that message is lost. And they're left to their own devices to figure out what to say. I had two experiences last week, and I wrote an article on LinkedIn about it. One was at a pretzel place in the mall, and a woman in front of me was buying a pretzel and a drink, and it total came to around $7, and she was exasperated by it and said, "That's really expensive." And the cashier said, "Yeah, I know." And I was like, "What just happened?" Now, I know, I get it. This is what I do, so it struck me a little differently. But I walked up after her and said, "You meant it's worth it." And she said, "What?" I was the weird old guy to the millennial at the time.
She's like, I'm in break in 15
Yeah,
minutes.
exactly.
Like,
And so, but it was an obvious disconnect. And then a couple days later, at a grocery store we have around us, buying a sandwich, and the woman says, "These things are getting real expensive." I said, "Yeah, but the convenience and how fast I got in and out of here, and the meal itself is great. I was in and out of here in 2 minutes. My time is money." "Yeah, but you could just make it at home." Now this is the cashier for a grocery store that I'm buying the food at, debating me on why I shouldn't buy from that grocery store. But now this is 2 times in a couple of days. Now imagine that exponentially throughout the capitalist system.
Right.
So there's a huge disconnect of people thinking that, we just need that position filled. The training is more essential there because they're the last person to see the customer. They're the last person to say, "Thank you, please come back, we look forward to seeing you again." The guys at the top, they're not going to talk to anybody. It's those people that are going to be talking to people. So they need to know the message. They need to know the target and what to say. And tell you, if I heard one of my employees talking like that, they'd be gone. They'd be gone.
but sir, you can make the broccoli and cheese soup. No, I can't. I can't make broccoli and
Got
cheese
no
soup.
idea how to do
That's
that.
the best $3.69 I've ever spent.
Absolutely. So that was eye-opening to me because, again, I work with the owners and marketing directors and things of that nature. But when it really comes down to it, I realized, the people at the bottom, they're the ones that are going to be actually giving the message out.
Yeah,
Right.
They're the ones that need to know that.
That's a good message.
That's very important.
You're only as strong as your weakest link.
That's
Absolutely.
it. All right, Monica and Siobhan, question.
Whoa,
Yes.
shock.
General questions.
You don't have to have one, just in general.
Yes, we do web.
Yes. What was your website again?
And you didn't tell me I was going to come up with a question.
I haven't talked about it in a really long time.
Yeah. Olivia, do you have a question?
What do you
Really?
think is the hardest type of business to create a brand for?
The kind that the owner thinks he knows everything, he or she. There's a creative sphere that I usually draw out for my clients when I first sit down with them, and a sphere is 3-dimensional. Obviously, when I draw it, it's 2-dimensional, but it goes in all directions, endlessly in all directions from every possible source. You can go endlessly in the wrong direction if you're told be creative. So, worst thing I can hear from a client is just be creative, wow me. Okay, this is going to be 3, 4, 5 revisions before we're even close because I don't know what wows them. I can't read their mind.
Right.
And the target market is all we're worried about. In fact, when I do a logo, a lot of times I say, I don't care which one you like. Go show your clients. Ask them what they like because they're the ones that count.
Right.
So that's probably the hardest is the business owner that thinks they know everything and wants to like everything themselves.
Right.
Because we're really looking for the target market to like it.
We're good?
Yeah, we're out of time.
So that's like
We're out of time.
bourbon.
Wow.
It's like bourbon. Yes.